I think the risk-reward proposition for Bitcoin in the year 2024 is better than any other time in the history of the asset. If you study history, you're going to find that the currency, it collapses everywhere on average every 50 years. Well, how big is that? $400 trillion?
Michael Saylor thinks right now is the best time to buy Bitcoin. However, he's missing one critical piece of information. A lot of his points are actually advocating for XRP over Bitcoin. We're not going to tell him that part, but I'm going to explain to you guys why what he says about Bitcoin actually applies 10 times as much to XRP. There are many parallels between both Bitcoin and XRP. Both are providing a unique value proposition that has not even been available to the rich elites before. However, right now, everyone, you, me, everyone has access to this value, and right now is a great time to be buying cryptocurrency for a few key reasons that we're going to be breaking down in this video. Let's hear what Michael Saylor has to say about Bitcoin, and I'm going to explain to you guys why what he has to say about Bitcoin actually applies way more to XRP than Bitcoin.
I think the risk-reward proposition for Bitcoin in the year 2024 is better than any other time in the history of the asset because you have institutional adoption, you have regulatory clarity, you see capital coming into the space, and yet still you can do the survey yourself. Ask 100 of your friends if they're fully invested in Bitcoin and if they understand it. I think, as I'd said, the real key is to understand what is Bitcoin's use case. It's digital capital. Well, how big is that? $400 trillion, right? How much capital is locked up in real estate, equity, currency, bonds, collectibles, trophy assets, precious metals in the year 2024, right? There's probably half the value of most residential real estate is the monetary premium. It's the capital. So, like, how do you know this? I give you a little test. Go to Miami Beach, go up and down the beach, and then count the number of lights on in a condo building on the beach. Or go to Monaco and count the number of lights on. And what you'll find is that 80 to 90% of all of the condos don't have lights on at night. So people have huge amounts of capital tied up in these idle assets. And there's a lot of reasons for them, but one reason is because they feel like their money is safer there. So in the 20th century, people basically bought sports teams. I mean, ask yourself, what do rich people own when they get rich? They bought sports teams, they bought real estate, they bought companies, they bought land, they bought timber rights, they bought oil rights, they bought gold, they bought, bonds. They just bought stuff. Why? Because they knew if they left their money in the bank, it was going to dwindle away. Buy anything. They buy Picassos, they buy art, right? They buy stuff. So there was never a perfect digital capital. There was never a digital instrument where I could, like, if you were a rich Russian and you had a choice between buying a bunch of real estate in Moscow or buying Bitcoin, well, with ex post facto hindsight, looking back for the last 30 years, okay, now let's play that out, and you're a rich Nigerian. Now you're a rich, Turk. Now you're rich in Lebanon, right? And we don't have to be rich. Anybody with any amount of money anywhere in the world, you've got the last 100 years of history. You live in Germany in 1930. What do you want, a building or Bitcoin? You live in Argentina. What do you want? You want to own land? You want to own a building? You want a company? You want Bitcoin? The currency is going to collapse 5 times in 140 years. 5 times, right? Okay, so this is why we want to study history. If you study history, you're going to find that the currency collapsed thousands of times. In fact, on average, it collapses everywhere. It collapses everywhere on average every 50 years in the history of the world. And that's maybe me being charitable. So, is it too late? Well, can you actually take all of your property, put it in your pocket, and leave the country on one-day notice if you need to? If not, then you're probably not too late, right? So if you go through that exercise, you can't take your building with you. You can't take your bars of gold with you. You can't take your stock shares with you. People for a while, they bought paintings thinking I'll roll them up, but it might not be easy to, and the average person can't buy Picassos. They're not quite exactly at the price point. How do you buy $237 a Picasso a week? So Bitcoin represents digital property. What's the value of digital property? Hundreds of trillions of dollars. Is it overvalued? Not yet. It's $1 trillion right now. So when it's 100 times more valuable than it is right now, will it be overvalued? Not likely. It's probably still going to be appreciating faster than every other thing you can buy. Why? Because it's better than every other thing you can buy. Show me a hotel you can put in your pocket and teleport. $1 billion of gold is like 3,000 pounds, right? How are you going to move that, right? Give me a company that's going to last through the next 3 CEOs, right? Do you know who the 3rd CEO will be after the one that runs the company now? And do you trust that person?
At its core, the key to both XRP and Bitcoin are the use cases. The purpose is digital capital. It's the future of bonds and real estate and collectibles and other assets that previously were in a physical form. And as you mentioned, the total potential for cryptocurrency is $400 billion. You used to have rich people buying bonds, real estate, sports teams, art, whatever they could get their hands on that are physical assets to try and protect against inflation and currency collapse. The problem is that these assets have extremely limiting features. I mean, imagine trying to go to the grocery store, buying your groceries, assuming that they'd even accept it, and you're trying to use gold to pay for it. Maybe you have, a little block of gold, and they're going ahead and they're weighing your gold, and they're saying, well, actually, your thing is worth $110, and you only need to pay $100. What are you going to do? You're going to start chiseling pieces off your block of gold and then try and get your value equal to what you're supposed to be paying? That'd be so inconvenient, and everyone in the line behind you would be really upset. However, with cryptocurrency, you could freely move and transfer the asset with the exact amount, and you can verify that within a couple seconds. That's true for Bitcoin, and that's true for all these different cryptocurrencies. However, with Bitcoin, the problem is the time it takes to actually send the transaction. Yes, it's easy to send the transaction, and yes, it's easy to verify the transaction, but that time in between is the problem with Bitcoin. Right now, you're waiting a couple minutes for the transaction to actually get sent. Again, imagine you're in the grocery store line, you send the money over to the cashier, and you just sit there waiting for 5 minutes for the cashier to finally get the money. It's so impractical. Everyone's going to be mad in line behind you. It's just not going to work well. But with XRP, you're talking just a couple seconds where you send the money. By the time they pull it up on their system, boom, they have the money ready to go in XRP. That is why XRP is such a great value proposition when it comes to actually using your cryptocurrency in a practical manner.
The S&P 500, haven't we established there's a 99% failure rate? These are the winners. There's a 99% failure rate to generate shareholder value amongst the 500 best companies in the world. Now, if there's a 99% failure rate amongst the 500 best companies in the world, then what's the failure rate amongst the 100 million companies in the world? What's the most successful nation-state currency in the history of the world? Well, if it's the dollar's lost 99.8% of its value in 100 years, maybe 99.9% of its value. You could debate whether it's 99.8 or 99.9% of its value. Every other currency in every other country lost 100%. So if you're sitting around wondering, is Bitcoin overvalued? The question is overvalued versus what? Right? You're going to buy something, right? You're owning something in lieu of Bitcoin. What is that something which is better, right? That's the real question. Because not selling is buying, but not buying is selling, right? And you've basically got a certain amount of economic energy. It's deployed somewhere, right? And the question is, what are you invested in that you think is better? And I think everybody's got to answer that question themselves. But, like if you owned a football team, like what's the odds that people are still going to watch football in 250 years? And what's the odds that you can put the football team in your pocket and leave the country? Not high, right? I mean, and what's the odds that, you get attacked by, what if there's some law that says that you're liable for the physical damage and the emotional harm to the football players? And, if someone gets hurt playing football, you have to pay $100 million settlement, right? That happens. Or even better would be, what happens if someone goes to a football game, watches it, and is traumatized by all the violence, and they form a class action lawsuit and they sue you? Mightn't that happen? Happens all the time, right? Look at the history of opioids, look at the history of cigarettes, look at what's going on right now at congressional hearings around social media. At some point, you'll have trial attorneys suing tech companies because someone used a website and something bad happened to them, right? So there are a lot of risks no matter what you invest in. If you think you don't have risk, you're simply ignorant of the risk you're currently embracing. And I think that once someone understands fully all their range of risk, then your conclusion is, no, it's not too late to buy Bitcoin. I would say do your own research. But Bitcoin's 15 years old, so let's look at other great investments. 15 years after Manhattan was founded, was it a good investment? We could start 200 years after Manhattan was founded. In 1776, roll the clock forward, 1791. Was it a good investment? And was real estate in Manhattan in 1791 a good investment? Was it a good investment in 1865 after the Civil War? Was it a good investment in 1970? Was it a good investment 15 years afterwards in, 1995? Was it a good investment in London 20 years ago? Like 2,000 years after the Romans showed up in London, was it a good investment to buy London property, right? I mean, these are scarce, desirable properties, right? It's 15 years late is not late, right? The difference between the winners and the losers is the winners buy something valuable and the losers are afraid, right? The losers are afraid to buy the valuable thing because it's too expensive. New York real estate was the most expensive real estate in the United States 300 years late, right? It's always been the most expensive. Apple Computer was founded, I think, 1976, around then. 15 years after Apple Computer was founded, was it a good investment, right? Check the price of Apple stock in 1993 or 1996. I think in 1998, Michael Dell told the board they should shut it down, give the money back to the shareholders. But the truth is, at many, many points in time, it was a good investment. The key point I'd make is the time to buy them was when everybody laughed at you. Back in 2010 to 2012, most people would have laughed at you. With regard to Apple, they would laugh. They would say, well, it's too expensive and Nokia's got the market or Motorola this or something. Or they'll never, the telephone companies will control the business.
Is cryptocurrency overvalued right now? Well, when we go ahead and we compare, for example, a $100 Bitcoin or a 20-cent XRP, things might seem really expensive right now. However, it's very likely in the future that these prices are going to continue to climb dramatically, especially as we see inflation, we see currencies collapse across the globe. And we still don't even have mass adoption of cryptocurrency. We're looking at less than 5% of the world is currently using cryptocurrency, which is why I think right now is a great opportunity to be buying cryptocurrency. There are so many people out there that would laugh at you for buying cryptocurrency, but that sometimes is the best time to be buying these assets. That's what big investors like Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Ray Dalio, and so many others do, is they go ahead and they see an asset that is undervalued. That means that everyone else is seeing this asset and saying, well, this asset's only worth 10 bucks, but you see that that asset is actually worth 100 bucks. And they're gonna think that you're crazy if you pay, let's say, $20 because they think it's worth 10. But in reality is worth $100. And that's what you see that they don't. They're gonna say that you're crazy, that you're missing out on so much, that you're overspending, all these different things, but it's very possible that you actually see something that they are missing. You're seeing an opportunity that they do not see. So many people are saying that buying XRP right now is so stupid, and I think they are wrong, but their points are fair. They say that you have the SEC issues. XRP price has gone flat for such a long time. We're not seeing the explosion in XRP that we're seeing with a lot of other cryptocurrencies and so many other reasons. However, I believe that's what makes XRP such a great buying opportunity right now. It's possible at the end of this that XRP comes out on top with the bank partnerships and with a probable victory over the SEC. And that's where I see, yeah, XRP is struggling right now and people are going to call me crazy for believing in XRP, but I think that XRP could explode in the future. Because as much we would like to see the SEC just go away, Gary Gensler to get fired and things to be over, and the reality is after XRP wins, which I hope they will and I believe they will, most likely what's going to happen, the SEC is going to go, okay, well, we lost that one, but now we're going to go attack Solana, we're going to attack Ethereum, we're going to keep going after these other cryptocurrencies, and then those cryptocurrencies are going to be stuck in litigation for years and years and years as XRP has an opportunity to just soar. And so if you believe in cryptocurrency and especially XRP, make sure you guys go ahead, smash the subscribe button down below and like this video so you don't miss out on more content just like this. And did you know that less than 10% of XRP holders hold more than 1,000 XRP? You're probably one of the richest XRP holders out there if you hold over 1,000 XRP. Don't believe me? Click on this video up here to see if you are a top 10% or potentially even a top 1% XRP holders. The numbers are going to shock you.